Greetings and welcome to this training video about using SendGrid as the SMTP provider. In this video, we are going to walk you through how to set up your SendGrid account with high level. So once you sign up for your SendGrid account here on this page, it's going to redirect you to this dashboard, and make sure you're confirming your account email address by clicking the Confirm Email Address here. This is the email you will receive in your inbox. And also make sure the two-factor authentication, 2FA, is set up with your SendGrid account, because that will help with setting up the sender domain and such. So make sure this is all set up. And now let's take a look at where we are going to configure the SendGrid integration inside of our account. So once you're in the agency view, this is where you would go to Settings, Email Services tab, and click on Add Service here. And in the drop-down, this is where you will see SendGrid. And this is where you can enter all the details that we are going to show you later on. But the difference between integrating it with inside the sub-accounts in the Email Services tab here, the difference between integrating in your agency view and a sub-account view, is that once you integrate it in the sub-account accounts here in the Email Services tab, this is only going to be applying to sending emails using SendGrid in your sub-account. So if you integrate it in agency view, it's going to, and if you select this as the default provider, it's going to apply to all of the location that do not have anything configured. So for example, if this location is using Mailgun, then it won't be using SendGrid. But let's just say if this location do not have anything configured in the location, then it's going to use the default provider that you're selecting inside the location. This is where you are going to be entering all the SendGrid information. Heading back to SendGrid, now we are going to generate the password. Go to the Settings tab. Go to API Keys. Click on Create API Key on the top right. Give it a name. And then click on Full Access. Make sure it should already be on Full Access. And this is where you do create and view. And this is going to be your password to the integration. So now let's head back here. We are going to do Add Service. Select SendGrid and then paste the password that you just copied in the password area here. So it's really long. And this you're gonna put in your SendGrid login email, which is on the top right. Click on Account Details if you don't know. And this is where your username will be. So this is where you use it for your email field here. And for username, what we are going to do is we are going to do API key. So instead of putting the username here, we are going to put API key as the username and then hit save. This is the error that might show if you don't have the email in verified as a single sender. So how we are gonna fix this is, remember, we were on the dashboard where it's gonna ask you to authenticate your sending domain. So make sure all of these are set up, because once we go into authenticate domain, and you can verify your email address as a single sender here. Okay. So what we want to do, so for example, right now I don't have my own domain, but if you do, make sure you authenticate in that domain with SendGrid. But for me, I'm just gonna go to Sender Authentication tab under Settings. And this area, where it says Single Sender Verification, is where we are going to verify the login email address for. So if you don't see this option here, make sure your two-factor authentication is all set up, because what I was testing when I was trying to set up my SendGrid here, I don't see this option. So it was because I did not. I think it was because I did not set up two-factor authentication. So I ran ahead and set that up, and this single standard verification section pop up for me. So the next step, we are gonna click on Get Started. And this is gonna ask me for the information for my email, so where I'm just gonna put in my login email. That's fine. It's just for testing. Alright, so this is where I will create a sender just for my login email. So now this is the email you will receive, and click on Verify Single Sender. Alright, so right now it is verified. So now let's head back to the integration here. And now all we need to do is to click Save again. And tada, this is gonna work, so this is the one that I just did. Alright, so moving on, let's go to the Conversation tab, and we are gonna send a test email. So let me show you how to test this out. So once you're in the Contacts tab, add a new contact, and here I will do this one is a test email, and click Save. So because this I already added it before. So once you hit save, it should bring you to this page, where you're already in the contacts. So just to send a test email, make sure the sender email that you're configuring matches with the sender email that you verified here. So all of these domains that you set up in the sender authentication email, like make sure your domain is the domain that the custom domain that you're setting up it's already authenticated with SendGrid, because in a case where if we are not authenticated, this is where what it's going to show. So for example, this is always going to be my user login email. And when sending a test email, if I don't change my user login email to a verified email address, it's going to show me an error. Or I think I need to update it to this one in order to send from my high-level email. So here, this is the error we'll see. Yeah. So you're going to see this error. And this error can be resolved by going into your Sender Authentication tab and verifying that email address as a single sender, or if you verify the entire domain. So if you verify gohighlevel.com here, then it will work by sending from any email that says at gohighlevel.com. And if you want to learn more about how to mask the sender email, how to configure it inside of the workflow or the email campaigns, this is the article that you can refer to. It's going to show you places you can configure the sender email. So that way you can make sure the sender email always matches with the sandwich emails that you're already verified. Thanks for listening to this video about using SendGrid as the SMTP provider. For more videos like this, or to make a request for additional training videos, please go to the main menu and add a comment or ticket.